Hello, everyone. I am Minister Lashawn Mico. I am your host of the Talk Show. I am so super excited. I am on Soul TV East Network. I am excited about what God is doing with opening doors. It is so amazing. And I am here to tell you that the Woo Talk Show is a platform. We celebrate people who positively impact the lives of others. Now I can talk to the world. Now I can talk to everyone. And I am being syndicated and broadcasted all over the world. This is so amazing, guys, just because of one idea where I said I am actually going to follow what God told me to do. Even though I didn't understand it, I believed it. I believed what he said. I believed what he told me to do, and I did it. So let God use you. Amen. Let God be God. Some of your family only see you in their old eyes, not in God's eyes. That is so good. That is the truth. Our family only know us from, my family look at me and they're like, little Sean, she's a talk show host. Yeah, right. Right. I even reached out to some of my family and they didn't even know I had a talk show. So understand that it's not for everyone to know your gift and your vision and what God put and instilled inside of you. You got to know that if God gave you the vision, he will give you the provision. You've got to move forward. You've got to believe him, and you've got to cultivate that gift because you do have it. It's something in you that you know how to do so well. It's something that gives you joy every time you do it. It's something that may even irritate you. What about that? Well, guess what? That may be because you're the solution. God created you to provide the solution to that thing. That's why it irritates you so much. So understand that God, he makes no mistakes. He knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm excited, guys. I'm going to talk to you today on the debut of my live in studio broadcast about my new book, Taking the Limits Off. This is what I want you guys to focus on for the rest of this quarter and the next quarter ending the year 2023. I want you to think about taking the limits off. I want you to understand that it's very important for you to not limit yourself. We limit ourselves in more ways than one. We limit ourselves with what we believe. But see, God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask, think, or even imagine. So you shouldn't think about what you can do in your own strength and in your own might. You need to know that God, he will lead you through whatever it is that he needs you to do. So understand that. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a smooth process. That's not what that means. It means that God is going to strengthen you. He's going to build your character. He's going to build your faith. He's going to build your belief. He's going to build you up through that thing. So be expecting for obstacles and trials and tribulations to come during that process. It's all to make you better. So we're excited. Dr. Adrienne Johnson, thank you so much for joining. We'll have the ambassador to Ghana. She will be here next month. Maybe you can get her on your show. I would love that. Do you guys see? This is a God moment. Thank you so much. That's another door opening. This is why it's so important for you to move forward with your vision, because there are other people that God is actually working with on their path, and their path may need to cross your path to get them to the next level, to get you to the next level. See, we're all here to be a blessing to one another. And it's a blessing to be a blessing. So I'm excited. Thank you so much, Dr. Adrienne Johnson. I greatly appreciate your recommendation. I would love to interview the ambassador to Ghana. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So guys, I want to talk about my book, Taking the Limits Off. This book was very challenging for me to write. Taking the Limits Off is actually an anthology. So it is a group. It is not just my book alone, but it is a group of women who actually decided to make a decision and take the limits off of our lives, in our marriages, in our ministries, on our jobs, business, in every aspect and area of our life. We decided to take the limits off. Why? Because limiting yourself limits God. See, if you put limits on what you're able to do, then you're limiting your belief on what God is able to do through you. So you have to take the limits off. Limiting beliefs is one of the major things that we do. We believe that we're not able to do things because maybe we've never done them before, or we don't know anyone that's ever did it before that's close to us or in our family, or maybe it's never even been done before. But guess what? At one point, something that we do every day had never been done before, right? Like we fly in airplanes, like big, heavy machines that go up in the air and take us from one state and city and country to another. Well, at one point, people thought that that was impossible. So I want you to understand, when God puts it in your heart, it's possible. If he put the vision in your mind, it's possible. And I'm telling you that. So I had to take the limits off, because my limiting belief was that I wasn't loved because I wasn't raised in a household with both of my parents. And that was definitely a lie, because both of my parents loved me. In fact, they loved me so much that they put me in a situation that allowed me to be nurtured for and cared for properly. And I was introduced to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I really thank my mom and dad for loving me enough to not kill me, right? They could have aborted me, right? Or they could have put me up for adoption, right? But they didn't do that. What they did was they took me to grandma's, right? And so grandma raised me up. And I can understand that, because my parents had me when they were 13. My mom was 13. My dad was 15, 16. So, they were very, very young, did not know what they were doing. They went and snuck and did something and was like, oh my God, we did more than we thought we did, right? So here I am, right? And so I just want you all to understand, if it's anybody out there that may be feeling that way, I grew up, my mom, I'm the only child that my mom had. And when I was growing up, it just made me feel some type of way when I was around all of my friends, and, they would have their moms or dads or both of them picking them up from school, and parent teachers conferences and things like that. And I just always thought that I had to fabricate the fact that I live with my grandmother. So I would lie and act like I wanted to live with my grandparents, right? I made it seem like that was a decision that I made. I asked my parents if I can live with my grandparents, and so that made people look at me as a person of like influence or leadership, because I can do basically what I want to do, or if I ask, they always say yes, that type of thing, right? And so I didn't realize that what I was doing was actually just adding on and kind of compacting sin with just lie after lie after lie. One thing about telling a lie, when you tell one, you got to tell another one to cover up that one. Then you got to tell another one to cover up that one. Now you're just on a lie marathon, and then you can never really get back to the truth unless you unravel all the lies. So I think it's better just to tell the truth, right? And so I learned so much writing this book. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about, even as I was going back and thinking about the things, that I had went through, just thinking about how God was still with me during that time that I didn't even realize. During a time when I wasn't seeking God for guidance, I went to church and that was it. Church was over and it was over, right? And so I learned a lot by going through this, and it helped me also to heal in some places that I didn't realize I hadn't healed from. It also to help me to forgive in some spaces where, it kind of pricked me. So I knew that it was still some pain there, right? And so I had to forgive. And I just want you all to understand, when you forgive somebody, it's not for them. It's for you. It's for you to be free of having whatever someone did to you validate you, or control your emotions about a certain thing. You know, you can say you forgive someone, but when they come in your midst, how do you feel? Right? And so that's a way that you can gauge, have I really forgiven them? Because a lot of times I said I forgave and I hadn't really forgiven. It was when I came back into their presence that I felt a little, like, oh my goodness, I'm still kind of mad about that thing, right? So really, really, do a self-examination to make sure that you are forgiving the people who have wronged you. Okay? Because that's part of taking limits off, guys. See, when you don't forgive, you are limiting yourself from receiving the blessings that God has for you because you're too busy holding on to a grudge or animosity, and it turns into bitterness. It turns into cynicism, you guys. It turns into something where you become an ugly person. And now the person that you haven't forgiven has gone on with their lives, flourishing. They didn't ask God for forgiveness, and then you wondering why they having such good life when they did me wrong. Well, because you still sitting over there holding on to a grudge when you need to let it go and free yourself from that. Because nobody owns you, nobody can validate you, and what you eat does not make anybody else go to the bathroom. I'm just saying. Okay, so understand that you have to take the limits off in so many ways. So I'm just going to share a little bit about my story. Taking the limits off was what all of us done. All of us ladies, we took the limits off. Okay. But my particular story within this anthology, which the anthology has been compiled by the visionary, which is Linda Hunt, and she is an anthology doctor. Okay. And so my story is, it starts with you. Okay, because I had to realize, guys, that I could keep pointing the finger and blaming everyone else. I could have blamed my parents. Well, they shouldn't have had me so young. Well, they shouldn't have left me at my granddad's and grandmama's house. And I could have just had so many different reasons, right? I mean, it was a time when I was going to school, you guys, where I literally came home with a A3 on my report card. So if anybody knows, I had an A and I had a 3 in citizenship, okay? Because I would do the work, I was smart, but then I would grasp for attention, and then I would actually disturb everybody else. So see, that was something that I had to understand, that was a part of me, just wanting that attention that I wasn't getting, that I felt I needed to have that attention to be loved. I felt that I had to be seen to be loved, okay? And so that's right, let it go, because it's only going to heal you if you let it go. And so that's part of it. Starts with you. Don't point the blame. What's that say? Yes, I talk too much. I had an A3. I had a whole A3. I talked too much. Let me tell you, I came home with an honor roll badge, and my mama would tell you, I had an honor roll badge on, and I had an exclusion letter in my hand. This is what had happened, okay? So we all done been there, right? I knew the work, I knew the lesson, but I would get into mischief, right? It was attention. So understand that when you can say, hey, I was wrong. Hey, I need to change. Hey, I need to grow in that area. Hey, I need to stop doing that. When you can do that, then you are on the track to progress and success, because now you can say, hey, it starts with me. Regardless of what anybody else did to me, it's about how I responded to that. How are you going to respond to disrespect? How are you going to respond to hardship? How are you going to respond when God says no? How are you going to respond when God says wait? How are you going to respond? And not just outwardly, but inwardly. How is your attitude? How is your disposition? Are you complaining and murmuring and moaning and groaning? Or are you like, hey, I know God got this. If it haven't happened yet, it's not meant to happen yet, right? It's all in your attitude. See, your attitude determines your altitude. So if you always keep an attitude of gratitude, you'll definitely go far. So I'm excited. It starts with you. It just talks about me growing up. What did it mean? When I was growing up, I'm going to just read just the first couple of paragraphs. So I start with, it's funny how life teaches us what we should and should not do as we navigate our earthly journeys. We learn to do what we see, hear, feel, and want instead of what we need to do to live quality and productive lives as kingdom citizens, not as the unbelievers of this world. We learn to love, but we are also known to hate. We should not hate people, only sin. This is where people tend to get it twisted by hating people and claiming to have love in our hearts. God is love. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. Do you hear that? See, love perseveres, baby. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. If you love somebody, that love is bigger than any circumstance. It's bigger than any conflict. It's bigger than any disagreement. You understand? So I want you to really, really get that. That's 1 Corinthians 13, 6 and 7. And then I say, love was something that I always wanted. That powerful word, love. It's used so loosely and often inaccurately. It is often confused and defined interchangeably as attention, companionship, infatuation, lust, sex, abuse, etc. I didn't know that the love I sought was already inside of me. That's what you all need to know today. The love that you seek is already inside of you. You are love because you are created in God's image, and God is love. I didn't know that. And love, it was what I yearned for. I was determined to show everyone that I was loved. It didn't matter that I lived with my grandparents instead of my parents. See, that was my mindset. That was one of my limiting beliefs. Because back during when I was growing up, all of my friends lived with their parents. So I felt like, what's wrong with me? But there was nothing wrong with me. And let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with you. I don't care if you grew up with no parents. I don't care if you grew up with one parent. There is nothing wrong with you, okay? You are loved. What else did I say? I said, or that my parents weren't raising me. That didn't mean I wasn't loved. I wanted people to love me and know I was still loved and not abandoned. Abandonment. See, a lot of people may feel abandoned. And that is what I felt for a short time during my during growing up. I felt abandoned. But it was because I didn't know what abandoned mean. See, I had the wrong definition and understanding of what abandonment is. Because if my parents would have abandoned me, then they would not have cared about where I was, how I was being raised, who was doing what to me. They would have abandoned me, okay? But they didn't abandon me. They just took me to grandmama's so she could watch me while they were still growing up, right? And so I had to understand that. Amen. I'm not sure who that is who tried calling me, but I'll call you after the show. That must be my mom, my beautiful, beautiful mom. And so listen, guys, I wanted people to love me and know that I was still loved and not abandoned. I knew I had to rationalize this truth. See, this was my truth, but it wasn't the truth. It wasn't God's truth. Okay? This was just how I perceived things. And I was very young, right? So it was very easy for me to feel like that. Oh, hey, Lisa, my sister tried calling me. Thank you. So this book was very, very hard for me to write because I didn't want anybody to think that I was bashing my parents, because I love my parents, okay? Andre Lee Spencer and Sharon Renee Williams, okay? Those are my rocks, okay? So please know that. But during that time, this was something that I had to go through and grow through and understand. And I'm so glad that God was with me through this, because he helped me to understand. And I didn't realize that I was the only one who needed the explanation, not everyone else, because no one else thought that way of me. And sometimes we could have a misperception of what people think about us. That's why it's so important to not worry about what other people think. It's so important to not worry about what other people think. It just don't worry about it, right? Because what someone else think does not validate who you are, and it doesn't make it truth about who you are, right? And I know sometimes there are people that we look up to, people that we respect, and we do value what they think. Just like, okay, Lisa, you know, we value what Bishop think, right? We value that, okay? But we're not talking about our leaders. You know, we're not talking about those who care about our well-being, but those who just got something to say. We don't care, right? So we want to understand that. And at that time, I needed validation. See, I felt that everyone knew that when you came from a broken home, you weren't loved. And it either meant one of your parents was split up or was never married, and you grew up in a single parent home. And so I had that stigma, right? And I attached that to myself. And I felt that I had to lie in order to get my way out of what I thought other people thought. Come on here now. The people haven't even thought it yet. Okay, I hope I'm helping somebody with that. Because we can literally do that to ourselves. You know, we thinking up all these things. This is one thing I want to talk about as well, because I'm glad. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Mindfulness. Let's be mindful of the now moment. Let's be mindful. Yes, rejection. Rejection hurts. And we have to be mindful of the right now moments. Because when we start thinking about stuff, now, and I'm not talking about as far as goal setting and planning and things like that. But when we start worrying and doubting and thinking about what could happen and what if, now we're conjuring up a whole story in our minds of what we're anticipating, and it has not even happened yet, right? We can literally get anxiety from those feelings, guys. We can literally get depression from those feelings, guys. So please understand, it's important to be mindful of right now. Right now. Not God always, even the word says, give no thought for tomorrow. Don't be worrying about tomorrow. Don't be having no anxiety about tomorrow. Worry about today. And I don't even mean worry. Think on today, but not tomorrow worrying about what could happen. You know, I actually lost a job interview. I mean, you know, I did very poorly on a job interview because I was so nervous, and I just conjured all these different things. What if they ask this? And what if they say this? And when I got in the interview, they didn't ask none of those questions that I was sitting up there worried about. And the simplest questions they were asking, I couldn't answer because my mind was just, I was already so nervous. And so it's important for us to understand that we do a lot of things to ourselves. We do a lot of things to ourselves. We even get ourselves in trouble with our mouth, with what we speak out of our mouth. Be very careful with what you say out of your mouth. We say these cliches and things. You know, I'm broke. Oh, girl, I'm broke. No, you're not. You're not broke, and you're not broken. So let's not speak these things that we hear that has been tradition going through generation to generation. We heard our mama say it, and we heard our daddy say it. We heard our grandparents say it. That doesn't mean that it is right. And that doesn't make it true. And we have to understand that our grandparents and great-grandparents grew up during times that are different from today's times. So some of the things that they said and even some of the ways that they thought during those times, just are not relevant today. And so I just want to encourage you all and know that you can take the limits off, but it starts with you. You have to do it. You have to make a decision to take control of your life. You have to make a decision that, hey, I own my destiny. Maybe you didn't, we all were dealt a hand that we had no control in. We all were born into a family that was, hey, our family. We didn't get to pick and choose. However, you get to choose your destiny. You get to choose how your story ends. You get to be the one to change the narrative, okay? So I want you to understand that each and every one of you are God's children. And each and every one of you were born with a seed of greatness inside of you. And this world needs to see it. There are so many talents and gifts that have died and gone on with all of those people who are in the cemeteries. We don't know what inventions could have came about because somebody sat on their gift and never did anything with it. So I want you to know that God has placed that seed inside of you, and one will come, he'll plant it, one will water it, and he'll give the increase. But just know that each and every one of you are God's celebrity, and Hollywood ain't got nothing on you. Period. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to end the show. Soul TV. I'm excited. Thank you so much. I know that this is going to be a great partnership. I can just see so many doors open. We're getting ready to get on the road, guys. I'm getting ready to be celebrating people everywhere. We're going to be doing some live pop-ups. We getting ready to do some things. God is getting ready to download a whole agenda for us because that's what he does. He works with your faith. And if you believe it, then you can receive it and you can achieve it. And so I'm excited because Miss Mashiba Webb is amazing. This studio is amazing. I'm excited. I'm in front of the whole green screen. Y'all see the whole green screen, right? Yes, this is live studio. I can't wait till next week when y'all see what they do with it. I mean,
today, right after this, it's going up.
They getting ready to do it today. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. Oh my God. So listen, I'm going to be lining some people up. We're going to be working on how I can bring people on live, like maybe you can join in. We're going to figure this out so I can still interview people all over, right from the comfort of your home virtually. And then I'm going to be having people come in studio with me, and you'll be hearing me interview people live. So this is just going to be so amazing, you guys. I am so excited about what God is getting ready to do. So listen, don't sit on that gift. Make sure that you're pruning it, that you're cultivating it. Make sure that you are seeking God for direction every single day, okay? Command your day every single day. Don't let anybody stress you out. Don't let anybody steal your joy. You have to make sure that when you wake up, you are focused, you are forward thinking. Have a DMO, have a daily method of operation. Have something that you do every day, right? Start with prayer and then go on down your day with what you need to do to achieve those goals, to get it done, whatever he has put inside of you. Some of you don't know. Some of you may be going to go and seek God for that. And maybe some of you already know. You're like, yep, I sure do know how to do that very well. Everybody always calling me and asking me, can I help them with this or can I help them with that? Well, that's your gift. So go ahead and start your business, because I believe that your gift can make room for you. That is a fact. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm excited, you guys. We're going to be coming back next week at 12 noon. So stay tuned. And we will see you all next week at 12 noon on the... Woo!
You got to do this before you go.
Talk show.
brought me through hard trials, and he brought me through tribulations. He never let a day go by without me realizing that if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, oh, my back was against the wall, but he looked out for me. He heard my cry and rescued me. Never let a day go by and not realize that you are blessed. So don't take it for granted that you're standing here today. Oh, just know you are blessed and highly favored. I don't care what you lost this year. You gotta know you are blessed and highly favored. Then the song says, God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all pain, misery, and strife. He promised to keep me, never to leave me, never ever fall short of his word. I gotta fast and pray, stay in the narrow way. Anybody like me, you gotta keep your life clean every day. This is why, 'cause I